Come on.
Well, it's been a year.
It has. It has definitely been a year.
Let me say that. It's been a year. It's been a year. It's been a year. It's been a year. It has been a year. All right, let's go, Santos. You ready to do this?
Well, I know that there's probably one person right now who's been the most excited for this video, and that's me. So it's kind of a selfish reason why we're doing this. When I messaged Jeff and I was like, hey, we're doing this, it actually made me look back on some of the things that I feel like as a team we accomplished this year. So let's talk to the man who's been running all the calls, whether it was in the heat, whether it was in the cold. You know, and like I said, a year ago we were sitting down. You sat us down and you talked to us about this, about what's going to be different, what could be different, and then you jumped in, feet first, into the deep end. It wasn't I'm going to do this on the side. You went for it.
You know, we talked about it. You know, if anybody remembers the first video, we talked about it. You know, it was one of those, we sat down, we talked as a family about it. We prayed about it. I talked to some great people around me, leaders in my own life, leaders in their own business, and spoke to them about it. And it was one of those things where they just said, do it, let's go. You know, what do you got to wait for? Sometimes those toughest decisions are the best ones to make. So we did it. We did it. We took everything we had and said, honestly, at this point in time, I got nothing to lose and only the world to gain. And I took the jump.
Absolutely, you did. And you were successful in it.
You know, isn't that relative? I mean, how do you gauge your successfulness? I have food on my table. I have air in my lungs. My lights are on. Yeah, I feel like I was successful. Is that somebody else's successfulness? Maybe not. But to us, we've made it a year. We're here. We went flying past November, and yeah, I think we were successful.
Absolutely. Well, and one of the things that you hear everyone talk about when starting a small business, you got to make it past a certain mark. You got to. Yeah. It's that proverbial set of time frame that you're against that you have to hit. You have to make it past that. And 365 days later, here we are. Here you are. What stands out the most to you this year? Is there a relationship that you made? Is there customers and clientele that you've met that have changed your outlook completely?
So what stands out to me the most? The support that I've received from the community. The support from what we might call in the business is our target market. That is what stood out the most to me. The overwhelming amount of people that are happy to have us in town. In the community, I mean, the sense of accomplishment that gives someone, second to none.
Yeah.
Second to none. Beyond the support of the community, it's the ways we've been able to interact with the community in ways that I never thought were possible, or ways that I shouldn't say possible, but imagine. From Carney's Shop with a Cop, we were able to work with them a couple different times this year. And did we raise the money for Carney's Shop with a Cop? No. But the involvement we were able to have from fundraising events and providing staffing to that, to ringing bells, to literally taking the children out shopping, the families out shopping. What an incredible opportunity that. We probably could have done that as just typical citizens and volunteered, but to say we did it as a company, as a family, just a great feeling. We've helped kick off some other companies throughout the year, and we're not taking claim to that at all. But a great friend that comes to mind, Bob Wood with G3 Remodeling. one of those guys that he too was nervous to take that step, and just sitting down and talking to him as a family, with my support group near me that helped me make the same decision. Bob's off to a great start, and just a wonderful, wonderful remodeling company that's once again serving, supporting his community in a way that he wasn't able to before.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about the community, you talk about Kearney Shop with the Cop, you talk about how you have, how we have been in the community, working with individuals to foster a better tight-knit group of citizens. And I think an excellent example of that is the trunk or treat that I know you guys had a huge
Trunk or treat was awesome.
Yeah.
Trunk or treat was awesome. We've done some calculating. I took some videos and some photos of the trunk or treat. We went and took this quiet little town from a couple cars driving up and down the road to, at best, 4 different people counted from some of the photos I had, anywhere from 500 to 600 people that showed up for that trunk or treat. If you were there, you saw it. Just an awesome event.
Yes.
That was incredible, and we can't wait to do more stuff like that in town.
Absolutely. Well, and you hit on the fact of I've been saying you've been saying we, and so let me clarify that. We, who are some of the other bigger hitters, so to speak, this year that you've seen here step up in the family?
Lily has stepped up. Lily is my oldest daughter. Everybody over, I don't know, did we do a video for Lily this year?
We did not.
There's so many things that came and went. All right, bad dad moment. We didn't do a video with Lily this year. Lily's my eldest daughter. She's really stepped up to the plate. Many of you have spoken with her on the phone, corresponded with her through texting and email. She's really helped out administratively, keeping old dad in line and making sure 1 + 1 still equals 2, and 2 + 2 still equals 6, and there's Lily. Anyways, she's really helped out with those. She's helped out with all of our artwork, and then there's you, Santos, that you really stepped up. You've helped out with the networking and the social media aspect of things, our YouTube videos, to things like my wife. Faith has stepped up enormously. I don't know if it was much of a step up, as she's just that support structure that I've always had there. With some of the more basic things like making sure I got clean socks to wear, to rearranging our schedules so that family activities can still occur, and really just grounding me and saying, really just grounding me. Yeah. Just pulling me down to earth and keeping me grounded so I don't get too high in the air. Making sure that I take that time to relax. My wife's been just a great support through all this. Morgan, my son, many people are starting to see him out in the truck with us. Don't know where that's going to go. I think he might be the next up and coming service tech out servicing air conditioners. He's helped out and really filled in some spots there. So there's just been a whole lot of people within our little family that jumped up and started supporting that I didn't think were going to be there or step up in the way that they did. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and one of the things to your point, where everyone has kind of found their own niche within the company, I think it's one of those things that you really look back on and you say, Lily's grown this year, Santos has grown this year, Faith has grown, Morgan has grown, in all of their own avenues. But Jeff, how specifically have you grown? We've heard about the company. We've heard about the role players.
Sure. I've grown in a way that my thought process and how I think about things is different. As individuals, I think about, I'm guilty, as all individuals do, of thinking about, how does this affect me? How does this affect me? You've heard me say it a lot lately, and it's, how does this affect our offering to the community? I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the community. That's a hard one for a lot of people to understand. That's one of those things where, I lean on my sister. I lean on you. I lean on my children. I lean on my support group that sits around me. One of those people I really lean on is Jerry Nickus with Big Daddy's Auto. Every morning we sit down and we just have this conversation, and it's just a conversation where you can release. There's no bias, there's no judgment. I think everybody needs that.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. That's one of those areas where I grew, because as a human being, we try to keep everything inside, and handle everything on our own. And I've really learned to rely on others, and those same others are the same people that are relying on me.
Yeah, and you hit on it. The fact that there's times where everyone needs to vent, and there's times where a lot of people maybe don't want to necessarily admit that they've messed up, or that they've failed.
Yeah.
Everyone does. Everyone's human, which means there has to be a moment this year where you thought you were in over your head. There has to be a moment where maybe you failed. You
Sure.
did something the wrong way, and maybe you did have to get a call back from a customer. Is there an experience that you'd like to share with everyone that, yes, I mean, we're doing great. We love helping the community, but at times there's...
I've definitely figured out where our strong points are in the company and where our not so strong points are. There has been some instances where I've just said to myself, okay, I need to draw the line here. I can't take on everybody's problems all at once, and I can't take on everybody's problems in general. As a lot of you know, no is not one of my favorite words. I don't say no to much. I'll do just about anything. The old saying, I'll do anything for a buck. Well, that's not quite how I go about things, but there's definitely some areas where I've realized I'm not as strong as other companies are. And so I have no problem turning over that work to those other companies in the area and saying, hey, I'm getting a call for this kind of work. This isn't my strong area, and can you guys take that on for me? And that's really worked great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think you referencing saying no, there's a lot of behind the scenes things that, decisions that you guys don't see. There's a lot of jobs that we get calls on that we don't have the manpower to take on. It's logistically doesn't make sense. But there's one job that stood out to me,
Okay.
that you said no to, that, again, selfishly, I wanted you to say yes to. And it was down in the West Bottoms in Kansas City. And I remember the conversations that we all had. This was probably the biggest job that you didn't take, or even the biggest job maybe that you've been offered this year. And I found that interesting because it came back to two things. When he finally kind of had to give me the call and say, I'm not doing this, there were two reasons that stood out. The first one is you were concerned about the amount of time it was going to take away from the family. And the second thing was, is this going to leave a lasting fingerprint in the community that I'm in? And not necessarily anything wrong with not taking a job in the West Bottoms.
Sure.
But it also speaks to the fact that you're grounded here, you're here in Holt, you're here in the area. But that, as crazy as things have been this year, the out till midnight, up at 4 o'clock in the morning, giving us calls, and you're like, oh goodness, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't even thinking. I was just giving you guys a call.
Yeah.
Out of all of that, where do you see yourself? Where do you see J.Shaw moving into the new year? And not even in the community aspect. We'll go to that in a second. But as it relates to within this household,
Sliding in. Just kind of sliding in under the radar. We're going to step into 23 a lot differently than we stepped into 22. 22, we were stepping through apprehension. We were stepping through uncertainty. We were doing it with kind of, coming through 22. Coming into 23, I'm confident. We're going to come in hard. We're going to come in hard, and we're going to just glide on through 23 and open that door. And I'm excited to see what 23 has in store for us as a family, as a community. as a small business owner, as an individual, and for each one of my kids that are involved with this, like I'm really excited to see what 23 holds. Because I know so far I've seen some pretty good opportunities in front of us. And I've seen some great opportunities for you and for Lily and for Morgan and for Faith. Heck, even for Rowdy, he's got some opportunities ahead of him. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have two more questions.
okay.
Sorry for the longer video, but what, if you had to guess, how much time would you say as a family alone in our Facebook Messenger group on our planning time, how much time would you guess we had this year? If you just threw out a number.
If I had to guess, I'd have to say somewhere, if there's 2,080 working hours or 2,180 working hours, I'd say 600 hours of planning.
Okay.
Why do I feel like you already know this?
So between our Facebook Messenger group and between some of the other things that you can calculate,
Okay.
I counted 712 hours of total planning.
Okay.
Now, I say that because there's a lot of things moving forward. You mentioned Carney Shop with the Cop. We did the golf tournament last year. We physically went and helped with the shopping.
With the Cop.
The downtown Christmas
The
for Holt.
lighted parade.
Yes.
The lighted parade in Kearney.
Yeah. The Royals game that Kearney Wind Supply had us attend on behalf of them on contractor night. So there's a lot of things community-wise that we're doing that we're wanting to branch out. And with that, the final question is: there's a lot of buzz going around Holt. There is a lot of buzz going around Holt, and we can look at so many different places within Holt that your truck's sitting out of. Walnut Creek Winery.
Sure.
There's a couple of undisclosed buildings that have frosting over their windows with an awesome saying. And secretly, there's also a lot of other moving parts.
There is.
With other business with other business owners here within the area.
There is.
What do you see J. Shaw doing, social media wise, community wise, business planning wise? Do you see it just being J. Shaw isolated on an island, or do you see this continued movement of community first?
I love giving back to the community. That was the number one gift my father gave to me, was that heart of giving. Yeah, you're seeing my truck parked around some buildings in town. And my truck is not the only one you're seeing there. You're seeing some other vehicles along my truck that maybe have some identification on them. And yes, they are parked around town. I am going to always continue to figure out ways to give back to the community. We are always going to continue to figure out ways to give back to the community, support the community. Because at the end, it's our community, and this little town, like I said, small town, big plans, just never know. I just love giving back. So I want to continue to add to the ways that we can give back to this community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else for the good of the order?
For the good of the order. Not right offhand, Santos. It's been a year. It has been a year.
It has.
It's been 1 year. And I hope to be here many more years to come. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.